My name is Michael Stevens. I actually work in the YouTube Next lab here in this building on the 3rd floor, helping consult people on what kind of programming online attracts audiences and is fun to do and can get done what you want. So I want to talk about building audiences online really quickly. I've got 10 minutes, which is fine because there really are no secrets at all. You honestly may as well just go home because there's nothing to say. There's no secret, there aren't any steps, but there kind of are. Here I am in the middle with Jake, myself, and Kevin, and we are the hosts and creators of Vsauce, a channel that was created out of a random name generator. I went to a random name generator, hit refresh a few times, and it said Vsauce, and I'm like, that's weird, let's do that. That's what the channel will be called. I didn't work out of a basement. I didn't necessarily work all on my own, kind of hidden away. I worked for a company called Next New Networks, which produced original online content and then found advertisers to support that content. Vsauce began as a video game, review, and parody and news channel because that's what Next New Networks wanted. And I said, I'll try to do that. I'm like the right demo maybe, but I was terrible at video games. I also just didn't care about them that much. So I said, look, what I do know a lot about is why hot sauce is hot, what's the biggest hole in the world, stuff like that. So I just started making videos like that, but it didn't fit the normal Vsauce channel, so we wound up creating 3 channels. The first channel now is all about how amazing our world is. I talk about what would happen if you fell into a black hole, what would happen to your body. But I also talk about things like what's the greatest honor? Scientifically speaking, is it a Nobel Prize or an Oscar or a Purple Heart? Can we even answer a question like that? I also tackled what's the shortest poem ever written? So I always start with a fun question, something that you kind of can't help but need to click on. Vsauce 2 is about stories. It's about people. The people on our world are amazing. And the 3rd channel, we finally returned back to video games. Fictional worlds are amazing, the worlds we create. The Vsauce channel now has about 5.6 million subscribers. Vsauce 2 has about 2.5 million. And Vsauce 3 has only been around for a year and a month, and it has 1.2 million. So we've got really big audiences, and we're having a lot of fun, and this is sort of what we've learned. First of all, what does it even mean to be successful, and what kind of programming is? Well, these are 3 big questions people wonder. Okay, what am I doing? When should I be doing it, and who am I doing it for? Who is the audience? Does anyone here know Vi Hart? A math musician on YouTube, very clever, and she has some things to say about those questions. This is a traditional piece of advice, these 2 sentences. Know your audience and direct yourself directly to it. Makes sense. Know what you want to say and say it clearly and fully. Right? Like pretty non-controversial. But if you look at the top 100 YouTube channels, I don't think a single one is doing any of that. In fact, they're doing the opposite. They're not creating content for an audience based on a bunch of assumptions they've made. They're making what they want to say. On a global network with a huge reach, you find the audience based on just being yourself. And you allow the audience to be involved. You don't say a complete lesson in thought with a full stop at the end. You leave it open, and that's what brings people in. They're not subscribing to your YouTube channel. They're not liking your Facebook page or following you on Twitter because you are an on-demand service. They're doing those things because they sort of want to be your friend. They sort of want to include you in their group and say, hey, I'm associated with this. I like this stuff. Therefore, some of its attributes can reflect back on me, maybe. Yeah? Friends, am I cool? That's what's worked for Vsauce, and that's what's working for channels today. A way I like to put it is that the best way to build audiences online isn't to be what you think your audience wants you to be, but rather it's to create and share and make things that allow people to be who they want to be. Every time they share something that they find that you have made, they're actually sharing it to say something about themselves. Here's Vsauce today. What does the Earth look like? Why do we get bored? Who owns the moon? Fun questions, but some of these titles are like terrible search engine optimization-wise. Names, cruel bombs, our narrow slice. But after 3 years of doing this and building up 5.5 million subscribers, I can sometimes take liberties and just be a little artsy-fartsy with my titles. However, let's take a look at what I was doing 3 years ago. The content was very different. Here we go. Nice. All right, so 3 years ago, we've got eyeball tattoos, Justin Bieber dressed up in, I think that's his head on a girl's body. Basically, you can tell that I'm going after the teenage boy market. However, was this necessarily a failure? No. I mean, my mom would say it was. She does share my videos on Facebook now. But back in the day, we were creating content for an audience because we thought we knew what they wanted. And it worked okay. We got 700,000 subscribers, but look how hard we were trying. Once I decided, you know what, I don't really know that much about the top 5 WTF dances in video games. I'm just gonna talk about the science stuff that I like in my personal life. That's when I built an audience, because artists create audiences, creators create audiences, not the other way around. There is a lesson here, though. Countdowns and these types of titles, not necessarily for the same demo, but people like to click on these because they automatically know what they're going to get. So I found what I call the 4 C's are the 4 things to keep in mind. They aren't as pointed as always release a video on Thursday at noon and all that kind of stuff. Instead, it's more about what your relationship to your audience and your content is. The first C is about clarity. So with clarity, what I mean is that you shouldn't be afraid to experiment and evolve. Obviously, my content has changed, and it still is. But you should always be clear. Whenever you create a piece of content, whether it's for YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or your website, what's the one thing you want viewers to say to their friend after watching or viewing it or whatever? When they're done, they shouldn't just say, okay, I get it, I didn't see any mistakes. They should say, whoa, did you know kangaroos have 2 butts? Or whatever the fact is, I don't know. But what is the single or a few of the takeaways that make your content sticky? Sometimes it's just really quick facts, like, wow, did you know that the typical annual vacation leave is this? I mean, sometimes that's just neat enough that you get someone to talk about it and share the link. And I have a list of my titles from a period of transition down here, and you can see how I was doing a combination of zombie bottle opener, but then also why is yawning contagious? You can see the sort of push and pull between curating crazy stuff and answering questions that I was going through at the time, but it's always really, really clear. Why is yawning contagious? I have to click on that because I want to know the answer. Zombie bottle opener? What do you think that video's about? Bottle openers that look like zombies. And other zombie-related items as a bonus. The key question is, would you share this video? Not, is your boss really happy with this video? Does it express clearly what you guys want to say to the world? But would you share it? And how would you share it? What's that one sentence you would write on Facebook before you embedded the video? If all you can say is, hey, this is a pretty clear video that puts the mission statement forward for this company. Don't. Come on. It should be something like, wow, really cool facts about blah, blah, blah. Also, you'll accidentally learn a lot about our programs. Consistency, this is all about attracting viewers first, okay? I made a bunch of different lists. I tried a bunch of different things. I didn't assume that I knew exactly what kind of programming was going to work right away. I discovered what worked. I was always clear, and then I delivered that and made my content must-watch content. This is something that comes much later. I'm not sure what stage everyone in this room is at, but this is about when you release an episode, people should make time to watch it. And if you're too different, if you're not consistent enough, they don't know how to talk about you, how to recommend you, and you don't get those views right away. Communication. So communication is applicable to people no matter what stage they're at. This is about YouTube not being a dump for on-demand video content. Rather, it is a social network. And talking to your audience in some way, letting them know that you know they are there. It doesn't mean you have to talk to them by name and be an individual, but it does mean that you want to show that you are aware of them. I actually got in trouble not 2 days ago. This screenshot is from a year ago, back before I was so wise. And someone said, Vsauce is awesome and all, but I kind of wonder why he never says a damn thing in the comments. That hurt, and I deleted it so my boss didn't see. And then I started commenting on videos, and I actually developed a system where within the first 2 or 3 hours after I release a new episode, I'm replying to comments like crazy. And I make sure people know that I'm doing that. This way, right off when I have something new to deliver, people know that they need to come in and engage right away. It's like attending the premiere of a movie. The director and the actors are going to be there. That's one of the best times to come. And I get a lot of sharing right away. It's not just about communicating with your viewers, it's about communicating with other people who are going to help bring viewers to you and curate you. So really briefly, I took 3 cool facts from some of my most popular videos. I had a photographer make these awesome posters about those facts, and then we printed them off, autographed them, and sent them to the top 100 blogs and aggregators that we saw talking about us, just as a thank you. And we wanted to make them cool enough that people would actually hang them up. Collaboration is the final C, really quick. This is the fastest way to grow online. It's not competitive on YouTube. If someone is viewing information or videos or content from someone that you consider a competitor, it doesn't mean that they can't also watch yours. It actually means they're more primed to watch yours because this is all more on demand than it is appointment viewing. So figuring out ways to work with other people who already have audiences that they could tell about you, or simply curating, like we've got the Vlogbrothers doing here, where they literally used a YouTube video as a exhibit, curating on the channel other things that are worth watching. Hey, you want to see some great videos about dissecting animals? Here are the 20 best. I did the work so you don't have to. This kind of stuff is really, really popular, and it gets shared a lot, and it also helps build your brand because all the stuff you share reflects back on you and helps you build your identity. The 4 C's: clarity, consistency, communication, collaboration. Piece of cake. Thank you. Cake is also a C word, so.